Oh. I was going to make a wrong turn up there. Alright, so my friend Fronic was getting married, and I was very excited about it, but I became very nervous when he sent me an email a few months before the wedding. Because Fronic had been my best friend in college, and I was really excited. He and Greta were getting married, it was going to be fantastic, but I didn't want to be the best man. Because I hate public speaking. And my only conception of what the best man does is they stand up in front of the wedding party and tell a story about the groom. And I could not think of anything worse than standing before a bunch of strangers to tell a story about me and Fronic. Like the time we stole a toilet from the side of the road and put it in a coworker's truck. It's not what I want to be doing. So I was relieved when I opened the email and he didn't ask me to be the best man. He did, though, ask me to take a sort of slightly different path to the wedding, sort of a different role in the wedding. He asked me if I would get ordained and perform the ceremony. And I read that and I thought, I totaled your mom's car. Because 2 years before, I dropped him and his mom off at the airport so they could go spend the winter break in France, and on the drive home, immediately wrecked their car. It was Iowa, it was winter, it happens. But he made that request and I thought, oh, I'm not allowed to say no to you. So I said yes, I will get ordained. I went to the Church of Spiritual Humanism, it's humanism.org, and became the Reverend Don Dealey. Which was a curious thing at the time, since I found out all my friends from high school had all already gotten ordained, including my friend who was ordained under the name Reverend Slappy. And it's odd to think of being ordained now after the fact, since I'm now an atheist. I've come some weird path to get there, but that's a different story. So I was going to perform his wedding ceremony, but I had this job at the time. I was a temp worker doing data entry, and I hated it. And I wasn't sure if I was going to quit the job and go to the wedding, or to try to leave for the wedding and come back and do the job. And my last day before the wedding, they switched my desk. And they put me, the chairs there were giving back pain, were horrible. And they moved me to a new desk with a cheap folding chair. And I just walked there, looked at it, and I was like, yeah, I'm quitting. I've joined a new religion, and I'm going out west to perform a wedding this weekend. Which, if you've never done it, is the best way to quit a job. Just tell them, like, yes, I'm leaving. I've joined a new church. Would you like to hear about it? They'll give you a cake. They will grab the stuffed bear off Marcy's desk and shove it in your face as they kick you out the door. It is great. It doesn't work so well as a pickup line, but it does work great for leaving a job. So I drove out to the wedding, which they were holding in Wisconsin in January. And they decided to have an outdoor ceremony. Which made me think, they're not just getting revenge on me with this ceremony. So it's the day of the wedding, and they'd actually rented this beautiful lakeside resort, where there's a dining room, giant glass wall, so all the guests can stay inside, look out the windows, and see the ceremony. There's a snow-covered plain, the wedding party, the bride and groom, me, and then behind me, this giant frozen lake. So I'm standing out there, the bride and groom come out, everyone comes out, the guests are all behind the glass, and the bride and groom, Fronic and Greta, start cracking jokes and giggling. And the night before, when we were rehearsing the ceremony, I couldn't make it more than 3 words without cracking up. Because it was so absurd, I'm doing my friend's wedding ceremony, they're getting married, this is ridiculous. And so I'm looking at them like, guys, this has been a problem. Maybe you should stop laughing. So I'm looking at them, I look back at the glass where all the guests are, and it's like a Monty Python cartoon, because everyone's standing behind the window, and all of a sudden, they all shuffle out, and they're standing outside the glass now, in the same place, in the same stance, in the same position. And I'm like, great, now I have to project. So I start the ceremony, we are gathered here today, and it begins snowing. So there's just this light snowfall, this beautiful frozen lake behind us. My best friends are getting married. And I don't crack up, I don't cry, I don't say fuck. And it's beautiful, and it's perfect. And we go in for the reception, and I got in my car, drove back home, started looking for a new job.